Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Young, and I'm just going to walk you through Justin Trudeau's economic speech today. And basically, I'll keep it short, very to the point. And I'll talk about highlighted key areas that he talked about. He talked about Canada's open for business. What he didn't talk about is the existing programs that already exist to support Canada's open for business. One is the various investment and trade agreements, as well as innovation funds that exist to help expand technology from incubation to market. He doesn't talk about that. What he did talk about is his pro-climate change agenda, which is driven by Agenda 21. What the reality is Canada's already a world leader in climate change in terms of its policy, whether that's solar power, green energy, water treatment, different areas of green products. We've been there for a while. It started when Ralph Goodale brought in the Sustainable Development Technology Corporation. That's what happened. The reality is, Justin Trudeau didn't talk about that. What he did is he's trying to make this kind of clear point that he's different than Harper. The reality is, if you go back to the history nature of the Liberal Party, especially in the 90s, when they came to office, there was high debt to GDP ratios. What they did is they brought it down through huge spending cuts and taking money from UI and cutting different programs and make sure that they were balanced in the budget. Plus, they also relied on a strong U.S. economy. And that's what they're relying on again here. The low dollar, strong U.S. economy. What he's not been clear about is what he's going to do on exports. And the only way you're going to expand opportunities for business is come to a pro-trade agreement. And that's not something you've heard really talk about Trudeau. The third point that I want to make is talking about the environmental assessment process that it takes to get a project from off the ground, from the start to off the ground. And that's an area that he says he's going to be different. Yet he's been incoherent on what that strategy will be. So if you're a company like Royal Dutch or another company that's looking at invest in Canada, the first thing you want to know is how are you going to get projects off the ground sooner so that when I make investments in your country, that I'm going to get a return on investment. Justin Trudeau wasn't clear on that. And he's been that way since the get-go, since he took office. My concern is he sweeps us under the table with a lot of platitudes and a lot of basically to kind of please the low-informed voters. That's what he does. The other thing he doesn't talk about in the technology area is that technology companies typically are startups. These startups have to keep their cost in check, and they have different compensation programs, and usually they rely on stock options as part of it. But Justin Trudeau didn't talk about that they're going to revisit the stock option deduction to change it. That's going to impact new companies, and if you want to go check it out, go check out the top 500 growth companies and see what they are. A bulk of them are high tech, bulk of them are manufacturing, and yet that's a sector that's going to support economic growth. But yet Justin Trudeau doesn't talk about his policies for that, and those policies also drive what happens to small business as well, whether it's EI cut or the corporate tax cut for small business. So it's nice to say you're open for business, but you really need to have a coherent strategy from R&D to taxation to policies that will drive investment in terms of environmental assessment, infrastructure key investments in terms of that will expand exports. So where did Trudeau come out and say that? He didn't. What he did is speak a lot, a nice pretty face with a lot of selfies to basically say he's different. The reality is he'll just ride the same policies as Stephen Harper. Thank you.